Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Maseches Zevachim Daf Ayin Zayin. We begin at the Mishnah, which is 13 lines off the top of the Almud. You have another mix-up on hand. Evorei chatos, so parts of a korban chatos, which is meant for the kohanim to consume. This is after the dam was applied to the mizbeach, etc. So these are the shirayim, the leftovers, meant for the kohanim. Shinis arvu, but they got mixed up with parts of an oila, which are meant for the mizbeach. Shinis arvu be'bari oila. What do we do with this mix? You can't give it to the kohanim because they may not eat oila material. On the other hand, placing it all on the mizbeach is also problematic because chatos material doesn't belong on the mizbeach. Rabbi Elazar Omer, look, you have no choice. Yitain lemala. Offer it entirely on the mizbeach. What about the chatos material therein? Look, v'royani es basar hachatos milamala. I'll consider the chatos material up on the mizbeach kilo ein eitzim, as though they're serving merely as fuel material, as firewood, to burn the oil material on the mizbeach. You can do that. You can sort of switch it in your mind. As long as the kavanah, the purpose, the intention is not to be makriv chatos material. The primary purpose is for the oil, which is meant for the mizbeach. The chatos will just come along as firewood. No, you may not do so. Rather, tu bar tzarasin, you have to allow the meat to stay overnight and lose its form, meaning to become unfresh. Basically, let the time frame expire. Let the zman achila expire. In which case, it now turns into noisar. Right? All these parts, chatas and oil, will now become pasal v'yetzu beis hasreif, and they'll be taken out to burn. No choice. My time to Rabbi Elazar. What's Rabbi Elazar's source that you can just take this whole mix and put it on the mizbeach and perceive the chatos element within it as merely firewood? We have a pasuk for it. Don't place korban leftovers, such as this chatos material, which is leftovers. They can't go up as part of a proper hakrava process, to generate goodwill, good reach, good proper hakrava. You can't place them up on the mizbeach for the sake of hakrava. But you could if it's just merely as firewood. Now, actually, this pasuk primarily speaks about two items which don't belong on the mizbeach at all: sa'ir and dvash. Chametz material, which is not allowed except for during on Shavuos, tishtei alechem, two breads were chametz. That's one instance where we bring chametz, and dvash, sweet fruit, also doesn't belong on the mizbeach except for bikurim. Okay, so the Torah says don't bring these things on the mizbeach. And the pasuk adds the word mimenu. Ki chol sor v'chol dvash lo yiksatiru mimenu. Chachamim learn the word mimenu applies to other items as well, such as leftovers, shirayim. So, for instance, you have a mincha, of which a kaimetz had been removed and placed on a mizbeach. The leftovers are meant for kohanim, not for the mizbeach. Lo yiksatiru mimenu. Something which had something taken mimenu on the mizbeach, the leftovers, does not belong on the mizbeach. There's a law against offering those leftovers. Likewise, in our case of the chatos, this chatos material is leftovers. The blood was on the mizbeach, now it's leftovers. That too does not belong on the mizbeach. But Rabbi Elazar says the pasuk stresses don't bring it up as reich nichayach, as a proper akrava, but you're not doing that. You're just doing it as eitzim. The Rabbanan respond. Let's take another look at that pasuk, at those psukim. Okay, so one pasuk reads, Korban reishis takrivu oisam lashem. So back to the so'er and the dvash, the sweet and the chametz material. They shouldn't be on the mizbeach. However, like we said, you can do it as shtei halechem, as bikurim. Oisam, and it says the word oisam. Oisam is a limiting term to tell you that this leniency, meaning the Chachamim also submit to this leniency to a certain extent, that for firewood it's okay. But that leniency, that exemption, only applies to the Sa'ur and the Dvash. If you choose to put the Sa'ur and the Dvash as Eitzim, okay, but not to the other item alluded to in the Pasuk, leftovers. Okay, so the Pasuk addresses two issues. Sa'ur and Dvash don't belong on the Mizbeach, and leftovers don't belong. And then the Pasuk says, but as firewood, it's okay. The question is, what is that it's okay referring to? Sa'ur and Dvash and leftovers, that's Rebbe Lezer's Shita. And therefore he says, Eivarei chatas, just put it up as firewood. Rabbanan say no. The word oisam says it's limited. Only those have this leniency, those meaning Sa'ur and Dvash. Okay, Rabbanan miyat rachmana oisam, the word oisam limits. Oisam hu di'ata ma'ala. Only those items, the Sa'ur and the Dvash, could not be brought up as a carbon, but yes, as firewood only. But the other issue, the other restricted item, the leftovers, don't have this leeway. Hence, you can't even put it l'shem eitzim. Rebbe Lezer responds, yeah, the word oisam, which is a limiting term, is in fact limiting something. Yeah, something is limited to the Sa'ur and Dvash. Not this leniency that we're talking about. This leniency applies to leftovers as well. It's actually referring to a strictness, a chumrah. There's a chumrah that just as you don't put the Sa'ur and Dvash on the Mizbeach, you can't put it on the kevesh either, on the ramp. It's treated like the Mizbeach, only with respect to Sa'ur and Dvash. Sold on Rebbe Lezer. So Oisam, yeah, it's a limiting term. It's limited to Sa'ur and Dvash. Regarding what? Not regarding that leniency of firewood placement. That applies even to the leftovers. The word oisam limits a certain chumrah, Sa'ur and Dvash, that the kevesh is treated like the Mizbeach. Rabbi Lezer, oisam hu deraboy lach kevesh k'mizbeach, only with respect to Sa'ur and Dvash, do I consider the kevesh like the Mizbeach. Aval mida achrini? Loi. But regarding the other component, the other item discussed over there, the leftovers, with respect to that, the Mizbeach and the Kevesh are not one and the same. So just because you can't put it on the Mizbeach, the Kevesh is okay. Rabbanan tati shmamino. Rabbanan say, look, now the word oisam limits both the leniency and the strictness to Sa'ur and Dvash. So regarding the Kevesh treated like the Mizbeach, that's strictly to Sa'ur and Dvash, and secondly, regarding the leniency, allowing it to be offered as firewood, again, that's only for Sa'ur and Dvash, not regarding leftovers. And therefore, there's no option of putting Eivarei chatas on the Mizbeach, even for the sake of eitzim. Now, our Mishnah, which presents this machlokes between Rabbi Lezer and Rabbanan with respect to Eivarei chatas, Rabbi Lezer says it's okay, Rabbanan say it's not okay, is going to be going on a different track than the opinion of the Tana coming up in the following Brisa, who seems not to have an issue with Eivarei chatas. All agree, even the Rabbanan agree, you can offer it as firewood. Ma'asisin lo'ikei Tana. Our Mishnah is not going like the Tana, the Sanya, Amar Rabbi Yehuda. So according to him, le'nechalku. Rabbi Lezer v'chacham. There's no disagreement between these opinions. Al Eivarei chatas shinus arva be'eivarei oil. Regarding chatas and oil got mixed up. In this case, shikarva, you can put them on the Mizbeach as firewood. Because after all, chatas, parts aren't so terrible, they're not really inherently deficient. And this is unlike our Mishnah, where even by Eivarei chatas, Chacham do have an issue. Okay, so in this case, says the Brisa says okay, it's okay. On the other end, the other side of the extreme, you have Bereveh v'nirva, parts of an animal which was disqualified from Karban. Reveh and Nirba interacted with humans. Shelo yikravu, in that case. If you have proper parts of a carbon mixed in with parts of this deficient carbon? No. You can't put it on the mizbeach because those are really puzzle. They don't belong. When do we have a disagreement? When is the machlokes going to apply? Whether you can just put the whole mix on the mizbeach or not. You have parts of a proper oila, unblemished, proper carbon oila, mixed in with parts of a carbon which turns out to be a blemished carbon. So it's deficient on account of its blemish. So now you have this mix. What do we do? Put it all in the mizbeach. I'll ignore the blemished parts. I'll just perceive the whole thing as the deficient parts, as though they're just firewood, they're serving to burn the rest. You can't put it on the mizbeach because of the balmum parts that are mixed in. So according to this brisa, when we have proper carbon mixed in with chatas, no problem. All agree you can put it on the mizbeach and just ignore the chatas, view it as firewood, no problem. On the other end, if it's mixed in with truly deficient material, got to keep it off. Balmum is a machlokes. Ask the Gemara. Now, according to Rabbi Lezer, what's the difference? Ma'ishna reveh v'nirva delay. What is the difference between level 2 and level 3? You agree with reveh v'nirva mix, off the table. Why is it different than balmum? Ma'ishna reveh v'nirva delay chaz. Why is reveh v'nirva off the table? Because it's not suitable for akrava, it's puzzle. So even within the mix, you can't, Balasmum nami lechos. Well, the blemished animals also almost just as deficient. So if it's mixed in, you can't. You got to back off. We're speaking not about a standard blemish, a very slight blemish, something like a cataract, some sort of growth in the animal's eye, which, although technically is a blemish, but it's not a severe blemish. And in fact, we don't treat it so severely like a regular blemish. According to Rekiva, the Amur says, in fact, if an animal was offered as a carbon and is already on the mizbeach, even if it was this type of blemished animal, no, you leave it up there. Apparently, it's not as severe as the other deficiencies. Okay, but Ema de Amar Rekiva di Aved. Sure, Rekiva is speaking after the fact. Once it's on the mizbeach, leave it there, right? But since when does he allow it? I mean, we're talking about allowing it initially. Amra Papa. Hachab skinon. Here too, we're speaking that it's already sitting on the kevish. So we leave it there. So then, even if it's not mixed in with ordinary kosher karbanos, if we have a part of a balmum, which is just a slightly deficient, a slight mum, like dukan shabayin, sitting on the kevish, then you would leave it there. Forget about the mix. Why do you need the mix-up factor to allow it? So that can't be the reason. Ella rather, time of the Rabbi Lezer. The reason why Rabbi Lezer allows this mix with the balamumin to be offered on mizbeach, meet rachmana mum bum. The Torah in disallowing a balmum says kimash chasam bahem, their deficiency is within them. Mum bum. The word bum says hu delay rotz, only while it's on its own and visible. It's unbefitting. It's not going to be accepted. But once it's mixed in with others, it's not so noticeable, it's not so, then it's okay. So, according to Rabbi Lezer, once the mum material is mixed in with others, you can put it on the mizbeach. Now we're going to ask in a minute, so why do you have to view it as firewood? We have a blank check. Just put it up there, it's okay. The Gemara will ask this question. Now this is Rabbi Lezer. Rabbanan, however, disagree. They use the word bum for a totally different application. That only as long as the blemish is pleasant, but once the animal gets healed, it's okay, it's kosher. Don't think it becomes permanently disabled. Rabbanan mum bum, while the mum is there, then it's not going to be accepted. Once the mum leaves, it's okay. Rabbi Lezer, how does he know this point? Bum bahem, because the pasuk says kimosh chasam bahem, the extra hey bahem, only as long as the mum is present. Rabbanan bam bahem leidashi. Rabbanan don't focus on the hate. That's just a mode of expression. Okay, so now back to the question that we posed. So, according to Rabbi Lezer, once the mum material is mixed in with others, it's perfectly acceptable. If that's the case, roya. Why does Rabbi Lezer have to present his view in conjunction with the roya concept? Let us view it as firewood. Discount that factor. Harachmana Achshre, the pasuk allows it outright once it's mixed in with others. You're right. He didn't really need this to make this point. He was just relating to the Chachamim, to his opponents. He says, look, he's just relating on their wavelength. According to me, it's not an issue to begin with. According to me, it's a non-starter, it's not an issue. Once it's mixed in, just put it on the Mizbeach. However, even according to your view of things, that you don't submit to this drasha, this source, okay, but at least agree to me at least that if he relabels it as firewood, that should be okay. Just like you agree by the chatas material, you can relabel it as firewood, and then it's okay for akrava. Let's treat the basar, the bottom, like firewood, just like the chatas material. What's the difference? Rabban, however, they make a distinction. Big difference. Hacham isi. Here we're speaking about balmum, where there's an element of mius. Disgusting. It's a balmum. It's not. Doesn't fit on the mizbeh. It doesn't belong there. Hasam lami isi, as opposed to the chatas material, which is a properly processed carbon. There's no deficiency within it. In terms of the fact that it's already leftovers, okay, so just put it up as firewood. Let it serve as fuel for the rest. Okay, so in a nutshell, we have another mix. Chatas material with oil material. What do we do? So Rabbi Lezer has a source from the pasuk that l'reich nechayach yatamala aval tamal l'shem eitzim, just reclassified as firewood to serve as fuel for the oil material, and then put it on the mizbeach. Rabbanan say that allowance only applies to sa'ir and dvash, but not to leftover material from a carbon. Rather, you have to leave it till it becomes nicer and burn it. In the Bryce, we have a slightly different version of this machlekes. If it's just a question of chatas material, all agree it's okay on the mizbeach, for the sake of firewood. By Revev and Nirva, which is inherently deficient, hands off. By the balmum, Rabbi Lezer has a pasuk. Now, once it's mixed, then you can offer it on the mizbeach. Rabbanan don't agree with that drasha, and therefore you can't put it on the mizbeach. Continues the Mishnah. Eivarin be'eivarin balimum. Let's say you have proper parts of a carbon. You have a carbon oila, which was separated into parts and got mixed into parts of blemished animals. Eivarin be'eivarin balimum. So actually, interestingly, in this Mishnah we're going to see a different opinion than the previous Bryce. In this Mishnah we're going to see that according to Rabbi Lezer, you can't just, you don't have a free hand just to put it on the Mizbeach. Even though it's part of a mix. So according to the earlier Bryce, that allows it on the Mizbeach. According to this Mishnah, it's not allowed. At least with the Rabbanon, we don't allow it to put on the Mizbeach. You have to keep it off, unless Rabbi Lezer Omer says, look, im karev roish echad mehen, suppose you have, let's say, 10 heads, right? Some are bali mum, and some, if it so happens that it was one bal mum, and to others, right? So, if it so happens that the kayin, just took the liberty and he put one head on the mizbeach, we can assume, we have a right to assume that the one he put on the mizbeach was actually the problematic one. Okay, so we just hope for the best. If one of the heads of one of the animals will put on the mizbeach, we'll just assume that was the problematic one, and now you're free to offer the rest. You can take all the other heads and put on the mizbeach. Likewise, the legs of one animal, same story. Let's assume that was the balmum, that was the problematic one, and now you're free to be makriv all the legs. You can rukul kraim kulam. Because this whole thing was a chumrah d'Rabbanan. We don't allow the, cuts of meat to be bottled on the rest because of their prominence, whatever. But once one got out of the way, it gives us another reason to be lenient, another layer of uncertainty, and we say, look, let's hope that was the problematic one, and you're free to be makriv the rest. Chachamim disagree. Chacham Aimrim. Yeah, once it's on the mizbeach, don't take it off, because Taisus explains, Chacham also agree in concept that a balmum, once it's mixed up, it's okay, but you can't actively put it on the Mizbeach. Even if it so happens that he was making for all the heads, except for one still sitting here, you can't assume anything. Say take it out, take it out to be burnt. But according to Rabbi Elazar, once even one was put on the Mizbeach, we can safely assume that was the balmum and the rest is okay. Rabbi Elazar, however, says Rabbi Elazar the Amoira, let me add one more condition. Rabbi Eliezer in the Mishnah only allows the kohen to proceed ela shnaim shnaim. If he does it a pair at a time. So again, what happened was there was, let's say, one head of balmum mixed into 9 others. You have a total of 10. And one was put on the Mizbeach. Let's assume that was the balmum. You can remark with the rest, the 9. But you can't do it single file, one by one, because maybe that's the balmum. You need another layer of uncertainty here. A pair at a time. Why is a pair better? Rashi explains there's a migu, because you know that within this pair there was only one problematic head to begin with. So within this pair of 2, certainly one is okay. So within this activity, this act of hakrava, you know, at least part of the involvement is valid. Okay, so let's assume the entire activity is okay, relying on the fact that, you know, the one that was already brought up there was the one that was the problem. So we have 2 elements here in your favor, so to speak. One is the chance that the balmum is out of the way, and secondly, because certainly part of what I'm doing is okay, let's assume the whole thing is okay. That sort of validates my involvement, right? You can't do it one at a time. Mosiv Rav Yirmiyah, I have a kash on you. Really? One at a time is no good, according to Rabbi Elazar. Take a look at the closing line of our Mishnah. Chacham disagreed, right? They say, even if everything was out of the way, everything's on the Mizbeach except for one still sitting here, back off. Apparently, Rabbi Elazar allows even when there's only one left. You're telling me it's only when there are 2 together? Let me explain to you what the word one means. One doesn't mean one single piece, it means one pair of 2, because you need 2 at a time. My echad, what does the word echad mean? Zug echad, one pair at a time. Okay, so bottom line is, when we have a mix between balmum and not balmum, we have the pasuk of Bahem, right, to allow a mix. The question is to what extent. Chacham say, yeah, if it's on the Mizbeach, after the fact, leave it there. But otherwise, don't dare put it on. Elazar says, Midaraisa would be mutter, Midarabbanan, we come down a little hard, we don't want to, you know, be so lenient. Chacham say when it's something chashiv, it's not batal, and it doesn't become nullified. However, if one got out of the way, the kohen happened to put one of the Mizbeach, then you're free to be makar the rest, but as the Gemara clarifies and concludes for us, provided he's going to do it a pair at a time. All the best to you, Natzlach.